Hello, I'm Vicky Butler-Henderson and this is the Fifth Gear YouTube channel and this is the Polestar 2 and I'm going to tell you a few things that I like about it. Well, actually, I'm going to start with something that I don't like about it, and that is the key. Now, Polestar is the premium electric brand from the company called Geely, which owns Volvo and Lotus. So you'd think they'd know a thing or two about design, but that is just a black box. Anyway, to the car. It is a super stylish saloon. Or is it? It is in fact a hatchback. It is a little bit wider, a little bit shorter and a bit heavier than the Tesla Model 3, its arch rival. But in here it has got some really lovely design features. A little hideaway cabin under there, and then this pops up for a small amount of shopping. Got all these bungees and nets, it's great. And whilst we're back here, I need to show you something which I really do love. If you remember Knight Rider, the TV show from the 80s, then you are going to fall in love with these lights. Oh. Round here, cunningly disguised as a fuel filler cap, is the actual recharging point. And round the front, because you don't have an engine, you now have something called a front trunk, which is not very big in this case, just large enough to put all your wires. While I am here, I do need to show you the grille, which I totally love. It's so simple, but it does look like all these keys sort of blocked together, which is odd because I really don't like the key, but I love the grille. And I also love these frameless door mirrors. I think they're exquisite, a real bit of beautiful design. Inside, welcome to a vegan interior, though you can get optional leather seats if you fancy a bit of cow. Now, it is an exquisite place in here, really simple in its design, but it is oozing with touchy-feely materials like this Scandinavian wood. For your ears, you have a Harman Kardon stereo, and for your eyes, you've got an 11-inch touchscreen, which is built on Google. And if you're an Android and Google fan, you are going to be in heaven with all this tech. Up here you have a full-length panoramic roof, and keeping you nice and snug in the seat is this yellow seatbelt. It comes with the optional extra performance pack, and I bought my first ever car, an MG Metro, because it had red seatbelts. So I am a sucker for this. Now, remember that nasty key? Well, you don't really need it, because you can get into this car via an app on your phone. But what is even more amazing is once you sit in the seat and close the door, the car is ready to go. You don't need to press any buttons or do anything else. This car is based on the XC40, but it doesn't sound like an XC40. It sounds like this. Prices start at £49,900 and it comes with a 78 kilowatt-hour battery pack and electric motors on the front and rear axle. With a full battery, you could do 292 miles between recharges. And if you want an 80% charge from zero, that only takes 40 minutes. It might be all electric and it might be a new brand, but it feels like a traditional car. You can feel the weight of those batteries underneath you, sort of pulling you down onto the tarmac, but that gives it a nice sturdy feel. It feels light and breezy in here, although not as bright and breezy as a Tesla Model 3. Which, after testing on the main show last year, I was very impressed with. With approximately 50 miles more range than the equivalent Polestar 2 and the network of charging stations, on paper it might seem Tesla has got the battle of the EVs in the bag. But Polestar says it's planning a two-wheel drive version, bringing the cost down to around £30,000. Making it a real rival to all of Tesla's Model 3 offerings. Like the Tesla, the Polestar 2 also has a one-pedal regenerative braking feature, which not only helps to recharge the batteries when you lift off the gas, but actively slows the car as well. So I'm going to see if I can do the next few corners on one pedal alone, just lifting off the throttle, letting the car do the braking without me actually putting my foot onto the brakes. far so good. The interesting thing about the buying process of a Polestar is you can only buy them currently in Manchester or London at places called Polestar spaces. You can have a test drive and they will bring you one to your door, but there is no network as such. It is an unusual way to sell a car. If you do decide to get your hands on one, it's not long before you realise just how fast this car is. 0 to 60 happens in 4.7 seconds, and it's got a top speed of 127, which, considering its 2.1 tonnes of weight, is impressive, as is the onboard tech. I can play with all sorts of things in here. The steering feel, I can have light, standard or firm. I can go into sport mode. I can go into a low or a standard one pedal drive mode. It is a sophisticated bit of kit. It feels like a very lovely, tailored suit that I am stepping into. The steering is accurate and I do get some decent feedback. And it is swift and composed. It's a very serene place to be. It's so quiet that it sort of makes you just stop and be a little bit more mindful. I've never said that in a car before. Overall, a very decent place to be. Right, let's go. It has got a power output of around 400 brake horsepower, and that is split 50-50 between an electric motor at the front and one at the back. And as well as the power being split evenly, the weight distribution is also split 50-50 front and rear, making it a pretty good handling machine. It's eerily quiet. I know that I'm going quickly because my speedo says currently I am doing 80 miles an hour, but I don't hear 80 miles an hour around me. And I can't hear when I'm on the brakes, I can just feel it. So 65 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour through this mild right-hander, 60 miles an hour through the left and the right, back on the power. The torque just whizzing you into the future and the brakes hankering you back down. 60 miles an hour around this right-hander here. Foot flat to the floor. What have we got before we have to brake? 97 miles an hour, then onto the brakes. Oh, could do with a little bit more feedback from the brakes there under heavy stopping. At last we've got a noise, it's the tyres squealing. 72 miles an hour. It's funny that you hear the tyres squealing more than anything else. There is a terrific amount of grip and a terrific amount of grunt. 660 Newton meters of torque means that this car will hit 62 miles an hour in 4.7 seconds. The battery is good for 292 miles between charges, and from 0 to 80% charge only takes 40 minutes. But if you drive it like this constantly, I don't think you'd get many miles out of it. It is a very steady, competent bit of kit. It lacks excitement and thrills, but it is a very decent car and a decent place to be. Well, that is it for this film. Please press subscribe so you get all of our exclusive Fifth Gear YouTube channel content as soon as we deliver it.